Thanks, Michael, for having me. It's a pleasure to be on the Admix series, Q&A series. And my name is Erik. I'm the CEO at the Dodreams Game Studio. So I handle a lot of the business development and investor stuff and sales, marketing, and all kinds of stuff like that. And we're the makers of DriveAhead. DriveAhead is a gladiator car fight game where you get points by hitting your friend in the head with a car. So yeah. So that's actually the reaction I'm looking for. So for the game is now 6 years old, and always when I pitch it like that, I always get a laugh or at least a chuckle. And the reason, I guess, is that the premise is very simple in DriveAhead and something that resonates across cultural and national borders. So we have received over 150 million organic downloads for our
Wow.
game, and that's a massive number. It really makes you humble
Yeah.
as a game developer, because when we started off with DriveAhead, of course, nobody imagined that we'd have 20 people updating the game nearly 6 years after it has gone live. And I think like the reason why this game has long legs like this is that there's something about that core gameplay to have a brutal skill game. That's of course rare these days because you're accustomed with all kinds of match 3 and other games that like the game gets easier if you get stuck. But we have in DriveAhead, we might have players who've been on stuck on a level for 6 months,
Wow.
and they complain to us, and then the team just responds that, hey, you can do it, but don't lose faith in yourself. And we sometimes get these messages. People say, I finally passed this mission after several months, and it feels so awesome. So that's one thing, that it is a true skill game.
Yeah,
And the
definitely.
second thing, second thing is that there's this surprising, crazy fun through physics. And DriveAhead is a rare example of a game that people enjoy spectating. And there, I challenge you to think of casual mobile games that people enjoy watching on YouTube. There aren't that many. And there's something about that surprising, crazy, fun physics that, we like to say that DriveAhead is like America's funniest home videos with games. And then another strength we have for DriveAhead is the fact that people enjoy spending time in a community. We have now over 1.2 million fans online in different forums and social networking services. Most active for us is Discord, that I know that Admix likes to use even for like developer relations. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that we went last year with the pandemic, like basically from 0 to 15K subscribers to our server,
Wow.
just by like one guy actively managing the community.
That's crazy. I
So
didn't know I didn't know the game was up for 6 years. That's crazy. It's cool to
yeah,
see it from starting from where it is to where it is now, and the community that you've built over this really, really cool game. Because I have found myself to really be playing the game like hours before bed. I've been playing it for the past couple of days, literally just like all day. And I'm slowly becoming more and more addicted to how the game plays, because I want that next car. I want
okay, right.
I want to complete the next challenge. I want to pass the boss. Like, there's so many really, really cool things to do in your game. And that's why I wanted to start off with this first question I would like to ask you is, how did the game start? Like, where was the initial idea for DriveAhead? And if there was any like inspirations that you had whilst making the game.
Yeah, so as a studio, we like to say that we do more than games, we do dreams. That's why we're the Dodreams Game Studio. So for us, it's important that, first of all, we don't want to do this kind of like disposable entertainment, because nowadays you have a lot of games that people play one week and they don't remember what they played the next. So disposable entertainment is a way for me to talk about hyper casual without saying hyper. Whoops! Now I actually said it. Okay, my bad. Anyway, so we're not a hyper casual studio, And I may or may not have done that on purpose. The viewers can guess. And then the second thing is this competition, like everything's super competition oriented. And I know that that is a strong motivation to play, but usually the competition is against faceless strangers. So we like to say that at Dodreams we craft shared moments of thrill. So Michael, you experienced it yourself. That's at least what I heard from you now, is that DriveAhead is like a real like roller coaster of emotions. So you're laughing and you're scared, and then that relief when you think you're going to lose a match, and somehow you survive, or maybe something crazy happens in the environment, that some physics object, some crazy penguin or car tire like helps you win, or maybe you even lose in a funny way.
Yeah,
so
there's
that's
been multiple
definitely
times where that's
yeah.
happened to me. I remember that there's this one point that I specifically remember. It was he had 2 stars, I had 2 stars. We're on our last match, and I'm like, okay, yes. I have the ambulance, and I know there's this one trick that I figured out that you can do with the ambulance just from losing a previous round, where the other car can actually go in the back of the ambulance, and then you can kind of spin your front wheel so they flip on their back.
Yes.
And I didn't even know you could do that until recently. So there is really cool little parts in the game and physics that you can figure out about each car that can benefit you from different matches that you have against certain different type of cars. And that's what I really like about that.
Yeah, you're right. So it is a collecting game. There's now 300 cars to collect, and some of them might appear like that they're not so interesting. But for example, the ambulance, one cool thing about it is when you start driving, the patient falls out. So and then the patient, poor fellow, is like going around the arena like as a rag doll. And like sometimes you might win or lose because of the patient that's in the arena. But about the original reason why we did DriveAhead, so we're Finns. So in Finland, everybody loves F1 racing, rally cars. That's it's in our blood, because of the winters and all these gravel roads. That any old junk car is kind of like a rally car, and you can like really like speed down these forest roads, and you're skidding and sliding, and then if you think of mobile games, the number one racing title from Finland is Hill Climb Racing. There are many other great racing games, but Hill Climb Racing, over 1 billion downloads, I think 1.5 now, and it was one of the top 10 downloaded games of the last decade. So I think the original team was thinking that it would be fun to play Hill Climb Racing, but it was a single player game then, and they wanted to do something you could play with your friend. And then, when you have these limitations, we didn't have an online game, we didn't have servers. So putting the players in an arena was like a natural way to have 2 people playing at the same time. And we didn't have really much experience in online games then. So making a local multiplayer game where you can have 2 people on the same device was an easy way to get started and publish something. I think like the most important thing for starting a new studio is to just try to publish as fast as possible. So we started off with a local multiplayer game, and that's what got the initial attention of the fans and Apple and Google, why they wanted to promote the game, and how we got that virality and word of mouth going. And then when we introduced the video replay feature, well, then suddenly you have thousands of clips published from the game a day, and like when everybody else had this influencer strategy. Remember the time when getting PewDiePie to mention your game was considered like the best game marketing, and and I had some friends who had it, and PewDiePie played the game. And you know what? They didn't get tons of downloads, and we have we do it the opposite way. So we have a uninfluencer strategy. So we want regular people in masses, in millions, to share clips from DriveAhead, and even if they get like 10 views, but if it's 10 friends who see it, they're more likely to download the game.
I see what you mean. There is like a more undercover or underground way of doing things, and it probably works as well. But I'd like to touch on the fact that you said you went more for like a co-op multiplayer style of a game, because one of the designs that I really like from this game and what you've made from your game is the style of that 8-bit look of the game. I think really takes me back to games like Smash TV, where I used to like play with my little brother, and we just go around shooting all the enemies and going into the next rooms and stuff, and it kind of reminded me of that. But I was gonna ask you, in terms of the design, what part of the game that you most proud of?
Well, obviously the core, and I didn't design the game, so the thanks go to the team that, without that core gameplay, that it's something that, we get feedback now from people that they grew up playing DriveAhead. So to do an entertainment product that people consider that it's an iconic for a certain period of their life, or defined a certain period of their life, it's just so, it feels so good to hear that. So I think like the systematic way the team has been able to make the game a better game experience by introducing free to play elements has really been great, because we haven't only grown the financial performance of the game, but also improved retention and other engagement metrics. And it goes to show that developing your business and trying to make more money
Mm-hmm.
isn't necessarily like an evil thing, where
Yeah.
you exploit the users and you put these artificial like barriers to progression. But actually thinking about money and how the game makes money, the psychology of buying, and what are the psychological motivations for people to play,
Yeah.
all this has made the game better. And the DriveAhead used to be an offline game, and now it's a live service. So last year, after 1 year of work, my developers managed to rewrite the entire code base of the game
Wow.
to turn it into a live service, so that every feature works with the back end. It can be validated and adjusted, and we improve the game. We adjust it from the back end. We've often been able to even fix or introduce new elements into the game thanks to
Mm-hmm.
that. So it all makes the game better.
I was gonna say, like, I remember you mentioning back about the PewDiePie thing and stuff like that. Would you say that stuff like that, marketing and trying to get your game out there, is like the hardest part about Drive-By, or is there anything else that you would say about making Drive-By was like the hardest part?
Well, DriveAhead has gone through many phases in its life cycle through the 6 years, and just like I think like the number one thing that most developers struggle with now is discovery.
Mm.
So how do you get the audience to find your game? And now, until now, many studios have relied on paid user acquisition. So you try to acquire users at a cost that's lower than the lifetime value of the users. And it's a very simple formula. But now, due to changes to consumer privacy regulation and tracking consumers online, it may be like even increasingly more difficult to get that model to work. So you have to think of like other ways to make the game appealing and find its audience. And for us, this grassroots activity that you have tons of players every day showing the game to a friend, either like physically
Yeah.
at work or school, or then sharing clips online, that has been very crucial. So a lot of the cars we've introduced into the game, especially recently, you could say that they're out of this world. And I think the cool thing about them is that you can have some kind of physics related to it. There's one car that has a ghost. It releases a ghost that kind of like flips everything around in the world,
Yeah.
and we discussed the ambulance car where the patient falls out, and there's a SWAT team cars that releases a mini tank.
Oh wow, I need
But
to unlock that one. That one sounds
yeah,
good.
yeah, it's quite fun.
I was gonna mention to you as well, like, I remember seeing that you guys did a collaboration with Hot Wheels, which is probably
Yeah.
like one of the biggest, like, you know, cars brands out there. Even for when I was like super young, playing with little Hot Wheel cars. How did you guys go about actually getting like, you know, collaborating with Hot Wheels as a brand? Because that's awesome.
Yeah, we did 2 rounds of or 2 campaigns with Hot Wheels. We also did a little thing with Apple and the Shanghai F1 Grand Prix a
Whoa.
couple of years ago, and I was super excited to get Skeletor from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe to visit the game on Halloween. I think that was 2 years ago. So these things, you know, the way you land these deals is that it helps to have something that people notice. And I think with us, like the fact that we started having these video replays shared, so when people from Mattel checked out the game
Mm.
and they saw it on the download ranks on iOS and Google, Android, on Apple and Google, and then checking out the game, and they find these YouTube videos where there are some that have, I don't know, 20 or 40 million views, and then there's just like so many out
Wow.
there. Like, so that helped, and you know, you need to do your best job and be a part of the community in Finland, the game developers, and internationally, you know, going to the events and trying to get some speaker slots, because that gives you credibility
Mm-hmm.
as a game developer if you're able to, you know, talk at Pocket Gamer or some uh, event. I was fortunate that, you know, for a couple of years I was able to speak at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco together with one of our ad partners. So this all helps, and then eventually, you know, people give you an intro.
Yeah.
So I was interested. I remember when we played DriveAhead just before we released it, the team said it wouldn't be awesome someday to have Hot Wheels in this
Yeah.
game. And when we finally got to talk to them, we were so excited because and Mattel also felt that, hey, if you give 2 Hot Wheels cars to a kid, how do they play with them? They immediately crash them.
I
And DriveAhead
see.
was the most. DriveAhead is to date the only Hot Wheels game where you play with the cars in a natural way.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
all the others are like racing simulators, and then of course they did the thing with Rocket League, which is soccer. But I
Yeah.
think we were the only ones where you could like actually play. We did the digital versions of the track sets, and then you could like do these stunts and crash the cars.
That makes
So
total sense
that
now.
was a really great thing to do.
You know, throughout playing your game, you know, most games nowadays, like you mentioned, Fortnite and stuff like that, they all have like the battle pass, and I really feel like the battle pass does suit your game. You know, with trying to unlock all of the cars and that, it really helps having that in your game. But I find it quite interesting in how early on did you think about using like in-play ad, for example, or using that as a monetization format.
Yeah, so it's tempting to claim that everything was done intentionally, but yeah, I have to admit that, of course, our understanding of what is a good game, how to make them, and how to monetize games has developed during the nearly 6 years that DriveAhead has been live. And you know, when we made DriveAhead, released the first version, we were thinking of it as a mini game. So this was before hyper casual existed as a term. So the game was quite simple. You could play 2 player local matches, and then you could play single player matches against the AI.
Mm-hmm.
and then there was like a prize machine that you could play to unlock new cars, and there was a very simple ad monetization to get spins for the prize machine, and I think you could buy some credits with an IAP.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at that time, like Rovio had a whole division of people who were selling in-game ads, and I did already then think that bringing ads into DriveAhead into the actual physical environment would be cool, because when the team made the game and DriveAhead matches are set in an arena, they created fake ads to make it seem
I
more
see.
real and authentic. And we have these banners that are actually now promoting um, our in-game events, or maybe we're like simple cross promotion for another game, and or just like silly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but we didn't move forward with the in-play ads immediately, because there wasn't a solution like Admix there. Because, for example, even Rovio had, I heard that they had salespeople calling brands and like doing these direct deals that let's put your ad into our game.
Yeah.
So we went this way, and we were basically in a content treadmill. So with every update, we tried to bring new cars and arenas and helmets,
Mm-hmm.
and then we felt that the game was a little bit too dependent on ad revenue, and so we started selling bundles, and we did live ops events where we had a simple ticket based economy, and that helped, of course, but we were still in the best business of selling something new. So new car, new track, new boss. And the problem with that what's new today is old tomorrow. So as a sales argument, new is not good,
Yeah.
because there's every update there's something new. So what if there's two more cars if you have 300?
Mm-hmm.
So we realized that in order to take the company to the next level, we need to introduce some kind of a system. So there's a systematic way for the players to use a car. They have a career goal of becoming a master car gladiator, and in order to get there, you need to have a wide roster of cars that you upgrade to max level, because the game should have some kind of tactical aspect, that when you go to these different matches and battles, that you have to have a certain kind of collection.
Yeah.
Because maybe certain cars perform a bit better against some other opponent or boss.
Yeah.
So this is what the meta game has been about, and of course, introducing to actually create the system from a system design perspective, and the technology to deliver it was quite laborious.
Mm-hmm.
But we felt that it's still better for us to focus on the existing DriveAhead game and our current audience, because it would be even more risky to start working on a new game now. And I mentioned earlier this limitations to ad tracking, and you have GDPR and other consumer privacy regulations. So the traditional business model where you acquire users and you try to acquire them at a price that's lower than their lifetime value is going to be increasingly difficult. And that's why I was excited then to hear about Admix, because I realized that now during this time the world has changed, and we now have these programmatic bidding for in-play ads.
Yeah.
So we don't have to negotiate these deals directly with a brand to bring their logo into the game. It all happens through an auction programmatically.
Yeah.
And what we like about in-play ads is that it was a huge relief when Admix team over there, Natalia and everybody else, told us that we can have this like shader on the ads, because the DriveAhead arenas it takes place in nighttime.
Yeah.
So you can't have a screen with a banner that's like bright as the sun burning your eyes out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we have like a little bit of a filter there, so it sits in the environment and ambience in a very natural way, as you could imagine going to a sports arena or a rock concert or something like that.
I was gonna
So
mention that to you. I was gonna say one of the things, especially when Natalia, one of our team members, sent over to me like a little video or a clip of your game, and just the way that you've used our in-play ads in your game with the shader over the front to make it look like a screen or something like that, it automatically caught my eye, and I was like, wow, this looks insanely cool to be in this environment. It looks so natural.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I think our designers will be super happy, and our creative director will be super happy to hear that. And I think that those were the two things. That there's three things why we went with Admix. One was that we had this shared creative vision of what looks good in the game, and Admix was able to provide an in-play ad solution that fits there. And then the second thing was that we believe that when you have good quality ads in the game, they make the game more authentic. And we knew that because when we originally launched the game, the team went so far to create fake ads to make the game feel more real. It was very natural for them to add there. And then the third thing is that this is like totally on the business side, is this that Apple is limiting ad tracking in the near future, and then also due to some consumer privacy regulation in the EU and the US, the ECPM, the price you get per ad views is likely to decrease, and for many has already decreased for the traditional ad formats. So actually, this in-play ads that are non-clickable brand ads, they might be performing better in the future, and we wanted to be early on this trend.
Definitely.
Also, if you compare it to like interstitials, that is also a common way to monetize user, that you have these static banners or pop-ups or videos that kind of like come as a commercial break.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really annoying.
Yeah,
so,
they fully are.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that we use all these ad formats now in DriveAhead. So I'm hoping that with Admix we can get to a point where we can start segmenting more the users that get these obtrusive interstitial ads, and maybe even someday remove them from the game.
I've had a really, really awesome time getting to know about you and Dodreams, and learn a lot more about DriveAhead. It's been super fun. Thank you so much, man, for taking your time out of your busy day to have a chat with me about DriveAhead and how you made it and the team. Is there anything else that you would like to say about the studio or anything coming up before we close off for today?
Well, thanks for having me, Mike. This was really my pleasure, and it was really fun chatting with you. It wasn't quite what I expected from a QA session from a goddamn ad network. Just don't tell anyone at Admix that I said that.
Okay.
So this was really a lot of fun, and I hope people enjoy watching this. I'm on LinkedIn, so if anybody watching this, if you have some idea about if you want to ask me something, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I will leave all of like your socials and stuff down in the description.
Thanks. Yeah, and there's a new update for DriveAhead every month, so check us out on all the platforms.